Hey, what's up, everybody? Mr. Honish here. We're talking city planning and urbanization, specifically for our Asia studies here. Big issue, especially in Asia. Huge growth in their cities over the last several decades. People moving from rural areas to urban areas. Did you know that there is an entire career dedicated to urban planning? There's a lot of thought that has to go into this. I mean, as a city grows, where are you going to house these people? Are there enough jobs? What kind of economic opportunities are there for them? How about transportation, travel, trade? Are there enough roads, railroads, airports, seaports? Does that infrastructure exist? How do you power everything? Where are the resources? Where's the energy come from? Are there environmental concerns? You want to make sure that you have clean air for your people, clean water. You can't pollute too much. Do you have the physical space? Is the ground set up physically to build buildings on? All of these things are big issues. All of these deserve a lot of consideration. So one way that you get a little practice in doing some urban planning yourself is a game called 3D City. I'm just going to give you a quick rundown of how it works, show you via screencast, and then we're going to cut you loose and you can play around with it, experiment on your own. Tell us how it went. Send us some feedback. Send us a screenshot of your finished product or however far you get on your city. Can't wait to see what you guys come up with. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is actually search up here for 3D City. And if I just search 3D City, the first thing that comes up comes from a site called GitHub. It is a gaming site. I don't know what kind of protections or blocks you have on that. This is something that I asked the school to unblock. So if you're on a school managed device at Wanakee Community Middle School, you should be good. If you're on a home computer, who knows? So this is the first thing you get. It gives you kind of a generic map here. And you do have the option of changing that, getting a randomly generated new map. You can do that. You can also change your difficulty level. We're going to start with low just for the sake of showing people, but you want to get crazy later on, go for it. So if I click new map, it's going to generate a new one. You're going to see a different one load up here. So you can see how the water and the land has changed. So once I have mine picked, I'll just press play game and it zooms me in. Now I'm using the scroll tool on my mouse to show you that it can zoom out and zoom back in. If I click and move my mouse around, it changes my viewpoint. And then if I go over here and click on drag view, I can move my cursor around and move to different parts of the map. But I'm going to get started building some stuff here, show you how that works. Now it's going to show you a time frame here. It is advancing month by month, and I'm going to press pause right there. I know this is kind of blocking the way, but press pause just to show you how to start building stuff. These are all my options over here. Now, think again about what a city needs. Nobody's going to be able to live here unless I have residential areas, homes for them to live in. They won't have jobs unless I have a commercial area for them to work at, or an industrial area for them to build stuff. That's probably factories, things like that. None of that does me any good unless I have a power plant, either coal or nuclear. And I'm going to need to connect them all with wires to make sure that all my buildings have power. I'm going to need to build roads or railroads or airport or a seaport to make sure that I have a transportation network. If I want to clear trees or add land to places, I can use the bulldozer tool to modify the landscape. I can offer things, services for my people, police, park, fire, and they'll tell me how I'm doing over here in the evaluation. Now, I don't have any people yet, so it's just saying like, oh, yes, no, 50-50. You can change how much you want to tax your people. This will tell you how much of your tax dollars are going to fund roads, fire, and police departments. So I don't need to worry about that yet. I need to get some power. Now, notice there's a yellow box, and as I drag my cursor around, it shows me exactly where that power plant would go. So I'll just throw it down, and a power plant needs some stuff to power. So let's get some houses. And I could throw a couple houses or a couple residential areas down in one section here, but I need to attach it with this wire. Otherwise, there will be no power for those houses. So notice they have the lightning bolts and they appear once they're connected to this. So now all of a sudden I'm going to have people living in my city. Now, right now I don't have any jobs for them to do. So I'm probably going to need to build some of these. So if I build a couple industrial zones and maybe a commercial zone or two, notice they got the lightning bolts. Those will not do anything unless they're connected to power. Now I could connect them to this power plant, or I could connect them to something that already has power. And notice they will now also have power and they will kind of come to life. But none of my people will be able to get from their houses to their job unless I give them some roads. And once you build some roads, you can start to see some cars show up. And you can build these roads all over the place. Eventually, you're going to have a huge area of urban sprawl. As you build more and more residential areas, as you build more and more commercial areas, as you add some of the bigger items like an airport, that takes up a lot more space. Look at how much space that takes up. Pretty much the same space as all four of these residential zones. You're going to have to really think strategically about where to put these things, how to connect them, and how to keep people moving. If I go back to my evaluation, the people of your town will tell you how you're doing. They're saying, whoa, we don't have enough housing. And apparently almost half of the people think I'm doing a pretty terrible job right now. So I would have to make some improvements, but I'm not going to show you what my strategy would be because you're a 12 or 13-year-old, so you're probably better at video games than I am. So I'm going to let you take care of it now. So that's your basic rundown. Can't wait to see what you come up with here trying some urban planning of your own. One note to make about this game is that it does not save, so leave the tab open if you're going to step away for a while and come back. But there's an extension assignment posted on Schoology if you want to post some screenshots of your created city. Can't wait to see what you come up with. Maybe give us a little write-up or a description of what went well, what didn't. Kind of walk us through your process. If you have any questions, you can get to me on email. Otherwise, have fun creating.